Thank you so much for joining Dental Marketing Theory, a podcast by Gary Bird. In today's episode, Gary talks with Dr. Jacob Berger, Dr. Jacob of Smiles at Lakewood Ranch with Heartland Dental. They chat about his journey and the Mamba Mentality in dentistry. As always, please make sure to like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment, as all of those things really help to get the word out about dental marketing theory. Hope you enjoyed today's show.
All right, Dr. Jacob, we are live. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Stoked about hanging out with you today, man.
Me too. Thanks so much for coming on. I've been watching the Lakers. I know you're a LeBron fan, so you used to be Cleveland guy, and then now he's back with the Lakers. What are your thoughts of Westbrook and him getting along and making that work out there?
You know, I was actually excited to watch the game, and then I was let down with the fact that I had a surgery the next morning. And these Eastern Conference, being on the East, watching a game in the West, you end up going to bed at like 1 a.m. So I didn't get to see the magic happen last night, which it sounds like magic didn't happen because they lost their first game. But I am excited to watch these two. I'm excited to watch a somewhat young Westbrook, athletic, wild, with a freaking high IQ at LeBron, who's getting older. I'm excited to watch them, man, and AD and shoot the whole team, man.
They got Carmelo, they got a lot of players, a lot of pieces. I'm excited to watch them. I haven't got to watch any basketball lately, but I'm excited to watch them. Also, Bitcoin hit all-time high while we're recording this. What do you think of that?
I think that's huge, man. And it was funny about it hitting all-time high is it hit $66,999. I was like, someone couldn't just buy one more dollar worth. I think that was cool because I actually made a decent amount of money today doing a dental procedure. We did 2 full arches, which was an entire smile makeover. And then I checked my phone and my Bitcoin made money. So I'm on a high right now, man. I've been playing around with that for about 3 years. And today was one of the days where it paid off.
Yeah, me too. I've been in it for a while too, and it's really cool to see. You think it's going to hit 100K before the end of the year? That's my guess.
That's also my guess as well. I think it will do it, and then I think it'll quickly, literally the day it happens, I think it's going to fall down quickly because everybody's going to be so excited and reward themselves. But I'm in it for the long haul, man. I bet we could have whole podcast just on my thoughts on where this is going, dude.
Me too. I'm not letting go of my Bitcoin. You couldn't pay me double for it for right now.
That's how I feel right now, man. I'll be offering a Bitcoin Pay at my office at some point. Like I already know that's where the future is going.
I had a team member ask me to pay them, and a couple of them asked me to pay them, and we have a younger team, but asked me to pay them in Bitcoin.
Yeah, man, it's not going away, dude. I have a feeling that request is going to come up in the dental world very soon, both from patients and from team members saying, hey, I noticed that y'all aren't allowing me to match my 401k. Can you at least pay me Bitcoin?
That's the other thing is that I'm trying to figure out a Bitcoin retirement plan. That's what I wanted, like an EFT with, and I know they're working on that. So that's really exciting. And to your point, we could probably spend a whole episode talking about this.
Easy.
So we've been walking people through their dental journey. They've been coming on the show and kind of sharing how they got into dentistry. I have to say, you probably have one of the most unique stories that I've heard of a dentist coming into the industry. Would you mind sharing your dental origin story with our audience today?
Yeah, of course, man. And now it makes me curious to know what other stories are out there. I had in my class at least one firefighter. I had one person who his family owned an entire grocery business. And I was like, why are you doing this, man? You could go own a multi-billion-dollar grocery business. So I also knew of others who had interesting background stories. But I did not have anybody in my class that used to be a barber. So I did cut hair from an early age of 12 to 13 is when I started my first haircut. And that turned into a fun thing to do, but also a exciting craft and exciting art. I already was the type of kid that went to the barbershop often. And then I took night classes as a high school student. My normal high school day was school, then basketball practice, then night school. And then I knock out 2 or 3 haircuts before 10 o'clock and then go to bed because I had to be at school in the next morning at 7 a.m. That was as a high school student. So it became a business while also having fun with my buddies cutting hair. But yeah, I ended up doing that, man, after I got my license.
How much, quick question. How much were you charging in high school for a haircut?
$10 a haircut, easy, just quick
$10.
10.
Okay.
$5
No tips.
if you,
Homies don't tip, right?
No, man, friends don't tip, man. I got used to the solid $10 bill. But I ended up moving into a barbershop after my senior year. So my first true barbershop gig, not my first job. I did do telemarketing and I worked at a grocery store. My first barbershop gig was right after high school, and I cut hair all through undergrad. That's how I paid for my 5 years of undergrad. And then I went off to dental school. So I would say if you added up the time I started in a barbershop, it would be about 5 to 6 years. If you added up how many years I cut hair in general, it was probably 9 years because I started at 14. I'm not gonna lie, looking back now, I didn't realize how awesome of a lifestyle I had as a young kid, as a college student, to have a stress-free life of cutting hair, pizza in the corner, movie on, music in the background. We had I think on Saturdays I would order 24-pack of Corona. Every client gets a beer and a slice of pizza. I mean,
where were you at when you were doing this? Where were you at when you were cutting hair? Where was this?
This is Tampa, Florida, right next to where the Bucks play, Raymond James Stadium. Which actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I ended up becoming the Bucks designated barber for a whole year. I cut hair.
That's a big deal.
I thought it was. I just hated the timing. It happened the year I got accepted into dental school. So I did it for like 6 months, and then I had to hang up the clippers.
So you were making more than $10 a cut at that point, right?
Yeah, man. At that point, I had a pretty decent size of cash in my pocket. I would say a good day back then. You could pay your rent on Tuesday, and then the rest of the week was all profit. And you could have a $600 day. And as a barber, that was a big deal, man. And looking back, I think you kind of weigh it out. You didn't maybe make as much as a dentist does, or an office manager, or an entrepreneur. But man, that stress-free life of just hanging out with your buddies and cutting hair, I miss it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did that, walk us through, so you're cutting hair, you've probably, cutting professional athletes' hair is probably the pinnacle of, a barber, right? Like you're at the top of your game. What happened from there? Why'd you get out of being a barber, and how'd you get into being a dentist?
Yeah, I don't have any family members that are dentists. I don't have any friends that are dentists at this point in my life. I simply had a friend who was going to medical school to be a surgeon, and he was on my basketball team in high school. So 4 years removed from high school. And he said, man, I know you got a brain up there. I'm not saying that you can't have a brain and be a barber, but I know there's more for you. You should look into being a surgeon. You can come, apply to USF medical school. Man, you have the hand skills, right? You already use a razor blade. I had just finished his beard using a straight razor blade. And he's like, there's classmates I have, dude. I wouldn't trust them with a blade near my face. They might have the brains and the book smarts, but they don't have the street smarts, the cultural awareness that you have. Dude, you're going to kill it as a surgeon. And I was like, nah, man, it sounds lame. He's like, well, maybe at least look into being a dentist. They work with their hands too. And it was, I was like, you know what? I'm going to at least look into it. Why not? I was already going to college, but I was just going to college for fun. Like I was just doing it because that's what mom would make mom proud. And that's where I could meet a girl or have some fun. And so I went to the USF was where I was going, to their library. And I got a small book, man. It was like 20 pages long, how to be a dentist or something pretty straightforward like that. And it said, take your DAT, take science courses, be good with your hands, and apply to dental school. And there was a little small portion. This is the part I like to add, man. There was a small portion that talked about the history of dentistry. And it talked about how barbers used to be dentists. And it talked about how back then only 3 people had blades. A barber had a blade, a soldier had a blade, and a butcher had a blade. And if you had to trust one of those 3 people with an extraction or to use a blade on you, you probably want to go to a butcher or a surgeon, a soldier. Yeah. So barbers used to do amputations. They would pull teeth. They would cut off infections off of the skin. And I was like, holy cow, I already got the barber part going. And obviously that's not enough to make me want to go to dental school. There was a part of me that likes being a servant. I like taking care of others. I like working with my hands. And I like the challenge of owning your own business, your own baby that you can nourish and grow. So I applied to dental school after my undergrad and got in. And obviously history from there, man.
Yeah. So you're now you graduate college. You're ready to become a dentist. What was your first stop?
First stop was jumping in a U-Haul with my new wife. We had just got married. We jumped in a U-Haul and moved to Arizona to dental school. I sent all my clients to the other barber on the same hallway. I had to give up all my clients. And I was about to start this new life as a dental student, man. And I just, I was ready to like really hit it hard and make sure I study hard. But I also had to balance it because I was playing basketball and men's leagues. I was working out at a CrossFit gym and doing the functional fitness lifestyle. So I was getting ready to become a student, take it serious while also being healthy and a newlywed.
Got it. So you're in Arizona, you go to dental school and you finish up there. Were you in quite a bit of debt at that point, or what was the landscape of dental school at that time?
The debt question comes up. Heck yeah, man. I had to take out the full amount because I didn't have a job at the time. I mean, I gave up my career to go be a full-time student. So I paid the $56,000 in tuition using Fed loan or one of the private loans that you get. I also had to take out money for living expenses. My wife needed to find a job in Arizona. So took out the full amount all 4 years, man. And just to be transparent, because I know there's a lot of dentists that are going to be listening to this, I graduated with $399,000 in debt. And
So
each
for
day
so
after
400
that,
400K in
even,
debt.
man.
Yeah.
And the day I graduated, they gave you a letter, literally in an envelope, to each student, and it showed you what your debt was and how much the interest was that had accrued over those 4 years, which was $60,000 in interest that had accrued from the first one.
Why you're going to school? Wow.
Yeah, so they handed me a $460,000 bill that I had to sign, that I understood that I would be responsible for that. So yeah,
Your
man.
final bill, just so we're on the same page, your final bill was 460, so it was 400 plus the 60 in interest.
That's correct. It was 461
Wow.
When I graduated. I paid monthly payments, like $2,000 a month for 2 straight years, every single month for 2 years. And at the end of those 2 years, I was at 460 because I was literally only paying the interest for those 2 years.
Yeah.
So I was like, babe, can you believe we literally paid payments to not make it go up further or to go down lower? We just literally man, that is so crazy to me. But that's what I had to do, man. That was my story. That was the cards that I was dealt.
So you're out of college now. You have about $500,000 worth of debt. Where do you go from there?
So I moved back to Florida. That's home. That's where family is. Not necessarily a job waiting for me, but I had heard that there was different DSOs that would hire new dentists. One of them I had heard good things about was Heartland Dental. Another one was Coast in Florida. So I had 2 interviews set up, and I knew I would go back home, and hopefully that would work out. And if it didn't, and the entrepreneurial spirit of me just couldn't handle working for somebody else, I was going to go to a bank and ask for a loan, which now knowing what I know probably was going to get turned down. But I was in my mind ready to come back to either apply for a job or create my own gig through my new dentistry career. But yeah, I was back in Florida, man, back in my 813 area code, which is the Tampa St. Pete area. And Heartland decided to take a chance on me. And Heartland Dental is the big DSO. Obviously, most of your listeners have either heard of it or will hear of it. They took a chance on me, man, gave me a salary that I thought was fair. And I started 2 months after my graduation. So I had a month to go. I did a cruise. I hung out with the family. I played some basketball. And I enjoyed that month of rest. And then I got straight into work at an office that needed me on July 17th or August 17th of 2016, man. It's been 5 years now.
5 years. So what made you choose Heartland? Obviously you had probably options at that time. What drew you towards them?
It kind of circled back to some good things I had heard or good word of mouth from classmates who had already signed their contracts as 4th-year dental students. And they're like, dude, I love them, man. Like, they let you create your own treatment plans. They don't oversee everything. They help you set goals. They will open up a practice from scratch for you. That right there did it for me. I was like, heck yeah, shoot, if they're going to open a practice for me, like, this is going to be my baby and somebody else's dime. Let's do it. So I had heard some things about them. So I already went in slightly aware of what successes could come from it. But obviously I did have a couple of choices. One choice, did the interview, and I didn't feel like education towards their dentist was a high priority. They made a priority about their bonus structure. That was what the majority of the conversation was about. And I was like, that's cool, bro. I get that y'all have a a bonus structure. I imagine all DSOs have a bonus structure that I need to understand, but I think that could have been sent to me in an email and not necessarily use that entire time to present my pay structure. That was probably what had that, and I wouldn't call it camaraderie. I would say knowing their history, that they had a good history,
a good track record.
If they were jacked up, if they were sketchy, if they were scums, like all the bad things that we might think a DSO could be, because those things were getting planted in my ear and watered by professors. If they were, then how the heck did they survive 20 freaking years? Or however many years they were. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to take a chance. And they did decide to open up a practice for me from scratch, brand new building, fresh paint.
And how old were you at this time?
27, probably about 27 or 28. Yeah. 27. Okay. And
so you're brand new dentist.
Out of school for 2 months, man.
Wow. So brand new dentist, and they built a DeNovo right around you.
They did. And I bet if I did the math, it was probably a $1.8 million decision, because you got to think my salary, my partner's salary, the building, the rent, the contracts, the materials, the people that they have to pay to credential me, the people they have to pay to paint and build and hire, and the salaries of the team. I mean, that was a $2 million risk that they took. But I think 5 years later, man, I think they're pretty happy with their decision. I'm pretty happy with mine.
That's awesome. Now, so you get in you're a dentist now, right? And so you have patients coming through the doors, you're building a business, but then that entrepreneur spirit pops up again and you get an opportunity to create another business. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, man, that actually, I want to say it was formed and created organically, but you're right. It was the entrepreneurial spirit. I saw a challenge I saw something that needed to be solved. I wanted to solve it. And, I recently heard this guy, I think it's Jay Shetty, talks about, your passion or your purpose. If you're good at something, you like doing it, there's a need for it, and you can get paid for it. That's how you know when your passion and your purpose align. I realized I'm good at solving a problem. There was a problem that needed to be solved. I wanted to do it. It was fun and interesting. And I realized it could be a business. And it came in the form of extractions. As simple as that sounds, it was just literally the oldest procedure in dentistry is pulling a tooth. And we're still doing the post-op the same way. We're handing a patient gauze and some written instructions and saying, here's what you need to know and what you shouldn't do and what you should do. And I was doing that every day, man, because we had a practice that did extractions and bone grafts and sometimes implants. But I was just tired of telling the same story every single time, giving them the same boring gauze and post-op that everybody else gave. And I don't like being like everybody else. So I was like, there's got to be a better way. I'm going to create the patient experience to be better. So we put everything in a nice box that has all the instructions and the gauze and the acetaminophen, the ibuprofen, a tea bag for bleeding, a little slot to put your business card. And then we put our logo on the front. And we gave that to our patients, said, hey, everything you need is in here. Now you don't need to go to the drugstore. You go straight home, and it's on us. Thanks for being a patient here, and call us if you have any concerns. I was like, wait a minute, I could sell this to other people. Other dentists could benefit from this. And so that's how the patient care package was born. Created that 3 years ago. And I would say now at the 3-year mark, it's starting to take off. I'm starting to get phone calls, emails, orders. We now sponsor different events for surgeries, and Mission of Mercy is an extraction, like getting people out of pain event that happens. We have donated to them. I've donated to Heartland. I've donated to dental schools, but also not just donations. Anybody can just write it off and send it, but people are actually buying the product. So that is where the entrepreneurial spirit came in, man. I wanted to create something. But also I will share and just plant this seed in those that are thinking that you can actually be an entrepreneur in a DSO and let your creativity flourish. Like, they let me have a hand in my social media, and encourage it. They let me have a hand in my marketing or the decisions at the practice, and they encourage it. So, I would
love
say
that.
that
That's actually one of the topics I wanted to bring up to you, is some of the myths, right? So you said you were in college and the professors are, watering down of, this is good, this is bad, this is good. So that builds a perception, right? And so now you come out of college and you go in a certain direction. What are some of the myths about Heartland that that you learned that were just not true once you got in there?
The biggest question I get, the most common question I get from a dental student who's asking my advice now that I'm on this side, and was a myth that I heard, was that there is a quota or a certain benchmark you must meet for the amount of types of procedures you do. Like, is it true that you have to do a certain amount of crowns each month? And that is a myth. That is a lie. I don't even know where that formed. I imagine there must be a DSO that is doing that, or somebody created that story. I don't know, and I don't need to ask. I don't even want to know. But that isn't what happens at Heartland Dental. That's one that comes up. You treatment plan what you think your patients need. You help your patient move forward with the treatment needs. And at the end of the month, you can see a printout of the work you did. And if I did 30 crowns at the end of the month, cool. 30 patients got the work they needed. Heartland will help me to get more patients to move forward with the treatment that they need. Like, they'll teach me how to get better case acceptance.
Yeah.
And maybe somehow that can be misconstrued as they want you to do more crowns. It's like, no, they just want you to treat patients and do the type of work you like to do.
Yeah. And then the way I look at that, it's very simple. If someone's coming into your office asking for your expert opinion that you went to school for, you should be able to articulate that in the best way possible to give that individual what they need and what they're asking for, really.
And Heartland has taught us ways to help patients trust us, because not always do we come out of dental school with the right verbiage and the right body language and the right questions. And Heartland teaches that. And they say, and doing these things will help you do more of the dentistry you love to do. Somebody could misconstrue that and say, they want you to do more dentistry. Nah, man, they thought you wanted to do more dentistry.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because when you go to college, school, traditional, they're teaching you the clinical side of things, right? But they don't teach you the business side of things.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Zero. I think I got
Heartland's
one lunch and learn on business.
So what I hear you saying, and again, if I'm putting words in your mouth, please help me. But you got the college education for the clinical, and then now Heartland's filling in on the business side for you.
Not just the business side, but the people side. Because the business side, they do say you don't have to deal with that. We'll deal with that for you. The how much collections to handle, what is the subscriptions you should be submitting to, what are the PPO plans? Like, they will handle all that for you unless you want to have hands-on with it. But the people side, how to get people to move forward with the treatment you want to do. So it's up to you how much of the business side you want to take on. And that's kind of what I was getting at with, like, they will help nourish that desire. If you have it, they'll feed it and say, oh, you want to know more about business? Come on, why don't you come to one of the courses that we give to the office managers, even though you're the dentist in the practice. But back to the myth one, man, I just want to throw one more out. One more myth or concern some doctors have is that somebody will oversee your treatment plans. That there's like some like overseer or manager that looks over what you recommend. And that, in fact, was also a fallacy. When I signed up, I was like, who is this person that will oversee my treatment plans? And they're like, I don't know where you heard that, but we don't do that. We actually just let you do that here. I imagine it could happen if I would have been hired onto a practice that had an experienced dentist that worked there already. They may look at my treatment plan and say, hey, I noticed you recommended a 3-surface filling. I bet long-term, the best option would have been a crown, so that the 70-year-old version of your patient wouldn't have to get a crown at 70. They already got the crown at 52. Somebody could give recommendations, but that's a partnership. That's two people, hopefully a mentor-mentee relationship.
Between a dentist and a dentist too, not between a business person and a dentist.
Exactly, man. Yeah. So those are the two main ones that come up. I don't know that there's too many others, but I'm sure if I asked let's call him a hater. If you call a DSO hater or a Heartland hater, I'm sure there's more than that. But now 5 years in, there's not too many turnoffs with a DSO, or at least this DSO that I work with.
Yeah, I love that. And so outside of them, Heartland, and I want to jump to another topic in a minute, but outside of them helping you get your DeNovo started, what's been the biggest help that they've provided you?
Two of them, two biggest helps. One of them is the autonomy to grow at the pace I want to grow at. The decision, it was on me. I decided I wanted to take it on as if I was, picture Kobe Bryant when he came out and out of high school, gets signed on. I bet he was in the gym before everybody, left after everybody, digested the freaking rule book, like learned about it, was probably watching players video that while they're sleeping, he's probably watching tape. That's how I took my first 3, 4. I'm still doing that now, man. 5 years in, and they didn't care. They didn't care that I wanted to sign up for an implant class and I wanted to go become sedation certified. They even paid for that. They're like, dude, you want to do that? You want to grow at that pace? Not only will we encourage it, we'll pay for it. And I went to a pediatric course, a laser course, an implant course, a business course, I even went and they paid for it and taught how to be a better presenter course so that you can be a presenter to your team. How do you present ideas? How do you hold an office meeting? So I ate it up, man, and they let you do that. So that's one of the biggest things I'm glad they do and offer. The second thing is their education. They do offer a lot of courses that you can sign up for. So it's basically like a platter in front of you. Sign up for these courses. Not only are they at your disposal, but here are the ones we recommend you take, and here is when we recommend you take them. And we will cover the course for you. We'll fly you there. We'll pay for your hotel, your food, and your rental car when you get there. And so now I have more than 500 CE. I'm applying for my FACD fellowship FAGD, my fellowship in the American, forgot the acronym, and it's 6:00 at night. But I will have my fellowship and or become a fellow with the Academy of General Dentistry, all on Heartland's dime. And they did that because they know if they invest in me, I'll give them a great product or a great result back.
That's amazing. And one of the things I know that you're really big into is that you mentor 87 dentists underneath you as well, helping them along with their business side. How did that come about?
That one came about. So you know this, when someone's either leading or mentoring, they either did it because they were appointed it or because they sought after it. I did not seek it, or I wasn't choosing to do it in this path, but because I was so hungry and going to so many courses, I think they probably noticed that, or at least now looking back, and they probably saw that and said, you know what, this kid's hungry. He is good at what he's doing, and he is a good communicator. Hey, Doc, would you be available on a Saturday? We're doing a workshop, and we need somebody to mentor 2 younger dentists. And I'm thinking, I'm younger dentist. What do you mean a younger? Like they had just graduated like 2 months prior. They're doing some wisdom teeth extractions, and we know you do a lot of wisdom teeth extractions. Can you be there for the event? So I went there and I oversaw them. I helped them get the last little root tip out. I closed it up and I taught them some things. Hey, Doc, we're doing another one. It's a root canal workshop. It's in 3 months. Would you be available to just coach a couple of docs? Sure, I'll go. So I was, I guess, a yes man. And that yes man turned into, can we call you a mentor and have doctors reach out to you when they have clinical concerns? Oh, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And that kept happening. And then finally there was an official one. There was hey, we need this is the term they use, a regional doctor mentor of operations. And what that means is they need a doctor that they know, an entire region full of dentists, have somebody that they can talk to when they're nervous about something, concerned about something, and they don't want to speak to somebody in the operations side of business. They don't want to speak to an office manager or a regional manager. They want to speak to a dentist because I'm having a dentist problem. And Heartland realized that we got to fill that gap. There's got to be a dentist that they can speak to. So my regional director said, who should I pick? How about the guy that I know will say yes? He always goes to courses. He's always willing to help. The practice is successful. And she asked me 3 years ago to be that for her. And what that comes with is, or at least the responsibility I put on myself, is to be a good ambassador for the dentist that I look over. I celebrate when they're doing well, sending them text messages and emails saying, great job, you're killing it. Or I saw that smile makeover you did. But I'm also there for them when they have a litigation. I'm also there for them when a perforation during a root canal happens. I'm there for them when they have turnover problems and they can't figure out or put a finger on, why am I having so many team members leave me? Dr. Berger, can I bug you for a little bit? So yeah, man, I set aside about an hour a day, every day at the end of the day. That's when I do conference calls, phone calls, text messages with all the doctors in my region to really just help them be better versions of themselves, man.
That's great. I love that. And it's definitely needed in the dental industry. So it's awesome that you're providing that. One of the things you just brought up was actually the recruiting and retention. And that's probably something on every episode, every time I go anywhere, it doesn't really matter what the topic is or what we're going to talk about. Recruiting and retention is one of the biggest issues in dental right now. What have you been seeing in your practice? And then you're mentoring, almost 100 dentists as well. What are you seeing with those practices?
I'll share what's closest to me, and that's my story first. I would share that I have 17 team members in my practice, 2 dentist practice. We run 12 chairs in the building, 5-year mark. And I think we have had one team member leave in the last 3 years. So we have very low turnover in our practice. It's a blessing, knock on wood. I hope they don't hear me and try to jinx me.
Yeah.
I take great care of our team. Even during COVID, we were taking care of them. Heartland had their own way of taking care of the team financially and with benefits that they had in case they got sick. And Heartland did their thing with that. So I think we were able to keep our team members fairly compensated, while also showing them appreciation and support. That's not just during COVID though, man. I don't really know what to give all the credit to. I'm definitely can't take all of it. My partner sends text messages to my team members. I send text messages to my team members. We buy them gift cards. We take them to dinners. We go bowling with them. We take them to CE courses. We say thank you at the end of the day for doing their job. And they'll say like, Doc, I was just doing my job. Yeah, but you know what? You freaking did your job pretty dang good today. And thank you. Maybe that's why we have low turnover. Maybe we pay more than the office down the road. Maybe it's the mission and the vision, but I don't deal with it a lot, so I can't speak to it a ton. But because I do help with 87 doctors, and which is about 45 offices, for that reason, I see a lot of turnover problems. Sorry. Turnover with they're not paying me enough. The doctor stays too late. The doctor's mean. My office manager doesn't respect me. I can go somewhere else. I can go to a private practice. They always get on my case. There's so many reasons why people leave. And then you try to find somebody, and holy cow, man, our recruiting department, I'm just going to give them a shout out and also speak transparently. They're good when it's easy to get team members. It's hard to find team members when it's hard to find team members. Like it's hard for them right now. And,
it's competitive right now. Yeah.
It is competitive, man. And if somebody can get $1 more an hour and they haven't even met the dentist yet, like right now, I know my team members can leave and go get $1 an hour more somewhere, but then they're going to miss out on the smile makeovers we do. They're going to miss out on my winter party that I hold. They're going to miss out on the gift certificate I give them when they kill it or when it's their birthday. So that's why I think they stay. Not every dentist does that. And I get that may be what sets us apart, but it's for the person who's applying to a job. They haven't even met the team yet. I am literally only comparing salary right now or hourly wage right now. I don't even care what dentist is over there. I just care that I can get paid $21 an hour over here and I can get $17 an hour over here. I'm going there. And then you find out it's a knucklehead that doesn't care about their team. It's a weird time right now, man. Cause like every day I'm nervous I'm going to lose a team member. So I treat them really freaking good. And I have a feeling I'm going to do that until I'm 60. If you just always treat them like you could lose them, then I think it creates a good environment. And I wonder sometimes if the practices are losing team members are the ones who don't treat them like that. Or maybe it's just the environment we're in. It's such a moving target right now to pinpoint why it's happening.
There's a lot to it. There's inflation. There's other industries coming in, stealing team members. There's other people who aren't dentists that are recruiting from within dental offices. So there's a lot going on, but you do a good job. I like that, what you said there. Treat your team like you could lose them.
I was just going to add, man, two funny things. One, Heartland, I heard the comment done by a Heartland team member. They referred to another DSO taking a team member as poaching. And I thought it was just I literally pictured poachers in like a hunting village. And I'm like, why are we having such a negative connotation about it? But it's happening. Companies are literally trying to find your people and take your people from you. That was funny. That came to mind. The other one was I saw an Instagram meme or post. It said, if you didn't get a 5.4 increase, just know that you actually got a pay cut. And it's because of what inflation is doing right now. If your business is not increasing the pay structure at a higher rate than inflation, your team members are questioning their job. Because they know that, Doc, you can't even raise you can raise your fees on your crowns, but you can't raise my pay at the same rate. That looks greedy to me. And that's what I would say if I was an assistant. I'm not going to lie. Thankfully, I'm not in that position, but I do have to take that into consideration.
Most definitely. Yeah. There's everything, the cost of everything's going up. And if you're on a fixed income, it does put pressure on you to make decisions based off of that. So that's really good. One of the things that I heard you do like a TED Talk, TED Talk style speech around customer service, and you had a really interesting perspective because you tied it into being a barber and how taking care of your patients and how to get patients in and treating them a certain kind of way. Share with us your take on customer service when it comes to your patients.
Yeah, man. Well, first, that presentation I did was literally knowing that I had 1,700 dentists listening to me. I needed to create. I needed to create not just content, but motivate or inspire them, because that was what I was asked to do. And they knew that it was organic. Like, he does have good customer service. Why don't we have him speak about his customer service? And so when I was writing the content, I was writing it from a perspective of, if I was in the audience, what would force me to get my pen out and write down what this speaker is saying? And that's why I came up with 4 A's. I still remember it was like 3 years ago or 4 years ago now. And I had them write them down because I knew that they could go to work on Monday or Tuesday and implement those right away. And I don't want to give it away. You know, if people are interested, they should go watch it. I'm sure you can find it. On
we'll
YouTube.
We'll include the link down below. So the link will be down below.
I'll let them dig through it. Maybe that'll get them more curious to go watch it. But what it did, man, is it allowed people to see my perspective of taking care of people in the building, and realizing that if you ask questions to get to know your patients, if you apologize to them in the waiting room when they're running, you're running behind. If you give them the attention that they deserve by looking at them and giving them eye contact, even if we're wearing masks these days or we can't do the handshake, we're doing fist bumps and elbow bumps now. If you can do these 4 A's that I put together in there, I gave what I think to be something that was like palpable. Like, I can do that. This is like a cake recipe. And I think my title of it was "Fake It Till You Make It," because there's so many dentists that I think forget those things, and they're so caught up in, you do a build-up, then you do a crown, and I'm going to do zirconia, and then you're going to come back for the crown delivery, and then they walk out of the room. I was guilty of this in the beginning. I don't remember my patient's name. I don't know if they have kids. I don't know what brought them in that day, because I didn't ask questions. I didn't give them attention. I didn't go above and beyond for them. So that's where the presentation came from, man. That was where like the energy of it came from, is like my perspective of, this is how I did it in a barbershop, and it works in a stress-free environment, but it can also work in a stressful environment. And it was easy enough for a barber with no degree. I know it's going to be easy for you degree-having dentists out there. So that's where it came from. And I hope people do check it out, because I still hear people, 56-year-old dentists and 26-year-old dentists alike, saying, dude, that gave me a whole new motivation to go be a better dentist tomorrow. And it's only 7 minutes long. I mean, you can't beat that. I sit there and listen to like hour-long podcasts, and this one's like 650.
Yep. It was good. I definitely enjoyed it, and even applied some things even in what we do as a marketing company. So it was great stuff.
Thanks, man.
You went to Daikoma. What did you think of that event?
Yeah, I loved it, man. The coolest part about the Daikoma event, that was, I think it was in Colorado this past year. Yeah, it was in Colorado, Denver. It was a bunch of like-minded people all looking out for each other. So it's not like-minded people competing with each other, because that can happen too. Like, you could put a bunch of dentists in a room and from the same community, and they'll all be like-minded, but they're like competing with each other without saying it. In this event, it was a bunch of like-minded people looking out for each other and saying it. And so it was cool, man. And it was also my first conference in like 3 years that wasn't a CE course. Like, I didn't go there to gain dental knowledge. I went there to meet people in the dental field that were doing next level creative things that would change our industry, like smile consults virtually, or have you ever thought about the smell or the scent in your building? We can help provide a better scent in your dental. I didn't even think of that, man. And if you're in the trenches every day fixing teeth, you don't know that there's people out there trying to transform our industry and make it next level. And I hate not being a part of next level, man. I think that's why I do things like Bitcoin or courses or take on technology that hasn't even finished their beta testing yet. So that's what Daikoma was all about, man, was doing that. I went there to show off my patient care package and to see if more dentists and DSOs would be interested in it. And they were. That was a blessing. I had good food with people, good conversation with people. I even met Darren and Jake, who were a part of the DEO.
I was going to actually ask you about that. How you've been a member of the DEO for a little bit. How's that been going?
It's gone so far, so good, man. I'm new to it, and obviously my situation is different. I don't own a DSO, They invited me in to become a member. Jake and Darren graciously let me in, even though I don't own a DSO, because I'm a part of a DSO and I support dentists in a DSO. And I felt, and they also agreed, that I could bring value to their members while also gaining value from my membership by either my patient care package taking off or my Heartland Dental reputation, speaking about Heartland and in a good way and giving them sometimes the reputation they deserve. I'm able to do that. But the reason I love it, man, is, like I said, I'm meeting dental entrepreneurs that are thinking big picture. They're not just thinking about the day-to-day operations. They're talking about what kind of subscription packages can we offer? What kind of next level AI technology can we involve in our practice? And those conversations happen at the Daikoma event in a weekend, but it happens in the DEO membership every freaking day. In fact, too much time. Like I haven't even been able to dedicate the amount of time it deserves to really be in, like, day in and day out. You could probably spend like 2 hours a day with conference calls and networking and courses that they offer. Shout out to them for doing that. I just have time to jump on like once a week. And I think I'm going to their conference in November to set up a booth and introduce myself to some people, have some fist bumps in the hallways and some drinks in the evening.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I love your perspective on it, because it really is the dental is leveling up across the board, not just clinically, but operationally, marketing, everything is getting better. And it's awesome that you see that, and you're also helping other people to step up their game as well. So question for you, Dr. Jacob, what did I miss? What didn't I ask you about, or what didn't we talk about that you would like our audience to hear about?
When we first met, we kind of dug into the idea that dentistry was missing, or just hasn't really embraced, two things. And I think it'd be cool to talk about them, because I know I would, as a listener, I'd be like, man, I think we do need that. And one of them is this Mamba mentality in the dental field. Like, as an NFL player, if I played in the NFL, I would be waking up, training, busting my butt, like eating right, nutrition would be on my mind. I'd be stretching. I'd have ice at 1. I'd have my meal planning at 2. I have meetings to watch film at 3. All this to play a 1 hour game. Yeah. Dentistry, you literally work and work and work and work. But not all dentists, and including myself, I have since changed this. We don't give it the time and the energy that craft deserves. Do we watch footage? Do we listen to ourselves do treatment plan presentations? Do we study a treatment plan or look over a CBCT with a vengeance? Like, do we tackle it like it's the freaking playoffs, like it's fourth quarter? I started doing that, man, right around the time that Kobe had passed. Like, there was this like self-evaluation. Like, am I busting my butt as hard as that athlete was? That father was, like, somebody that was,
and that was right before COVID, right? That was like right before COVID, wasn't it? Yeah.
The timing of it was January, and then COVID got crazy in February, March. And I took that and I used it as fuel, man. I started reading books on leadership, books on dentistry. I started to eat better, sleep better, spend more time with my kids. And I think I wish more dentists could talk about this topic. I wish we could, like, not always talk about teeth when we're around each other. I think it'd be cool to just like create this movement where we talk about how can we make sure we're a great dentist till 4, and then a better dad until the evening's over. And then in the morning, get there before your whole team gets there. Not like stroll in after everybody's already set up your day, but like you beat them there and you've already looked over your patients. And then at the end of the day, when they're all leaving, you're calling your patients, checking on them. I think we would make more money. We would have more fulfillment. We would have more enjoyment. And I know the argument's always going to be, I don't want to be a workaholic. I don't want to work. Maybe it's not for everybody. Just like Kobe and Michael Jordan in his 10-part series was like, I wanted to win. And if that wasn't your style, then you didn't work on my team. So I think there's a balancing act where I want to win as a dentist. I want to win as a leader and as a business person, but I also want to bring people with me. And that to me is the Mamba mentality. So I just remember talking to you about that day, man, and getting fired up. Like, what if I could just help one dentist be a better dentist just by doing a podcast or just by having an Instagram account that maybe a dentist could check out my Instagram and go, holy cow, this guy's firing me up right now. I think I might go bust my butt harder tomorrow because shoot, if he's doing it, I can do it. So I think that message should be heard, man, or on a megaphone.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm the same way. I want to, if I'm going to do something, why not do it 110%? Why not do it the best to your ability? To your point, there is balance, right? But you have to, you can be the best dad, you can be the best dentist, you can be the best business person that you can be, right? And so putting in that effort, and really trying to level up, and I love that. And COVID really caused me to level up in a whole different way. So it's interesting, right around that same time, your mind was working through those things because of the passing of Kobe. Another question for you: what is your favorite or most impactful marketing campaign on you of your life?
Huh? What do you mean by that? Like yours turning right now? You mean if I were to
Yeah.
if
So
I had to tell my story? Is that what you mean, or are you saying literally like a
no,
marketing campaign?
no, like a marketing campaign. So like, who marketed to you as a young person or sometime in your life that it resonated with you and it stuck with you and it worked, in other words, right? Because if
Yeah.
it was never marketed to you, you never would have bought it. When we talked about it last time, you talked about Under Armour and We Must Protect This House.
Yeah, no,
And
I know exactly. Like right when Nick clicked, I was like, shoot, yesterday I was literally wearing Under Armour everything. And I thought
yeah,
about our conversation. Now I see where you're going with the question, because what it did is it left an indelible mark in my brain that has subconsciously had me buying their products still to this day, even though I don't play football. I don't need
yep.
to wear Under Armour everything. Like
Under
I don't.
Armour's was good, right? Like I was running around with football gear too. The compression
We must
pants, like you
protect this
said.
house.
Yeah.
Why do I still have that vengeance of wearing like a research and development style shoe? I'm literally walking from room to room in a dental chair, or in a dental office. They had a marketing campaign, dude. I don't remember what year it was, man, but I think I was in like high school or maybe middle school. Who knows where it was? But it was this, we must protect this house. And it was like a group of like street kids and a flag football. And it was just like this, like hitting their chest. And like, then at the end, like they hit you with that stamp, the U and the A. We must protect this house. And it gets you fired up as a young athlete or as a kid. It did for me. And I still remember the commercial and I still buy their product. That and not too long ago, there was a YouTube video that really stuck with me. And I don't think it makes me buy more Nike because of it, but they did a phenomenal job with the commercial. It was a Kobe Bryant commercial, and it was after his passing. I think they had Kendrick Lamar as the voice behind it, and it was video clips of him, and it was called Better. It was on TV, and then it was on YouTube. And I think with the relationship between Nike and Kobe, it's not on YouTube anymore, but you can still find it somehow. Um, it was cool because it said better, better dad, better mom, better leader, better husband, better basketball player, better dad. And I heard the better dad like 3 times. And that one got me because I have 2 young kids, and I was like, God dang, man, this thing has me fired up and almost tearing up. It didn't make me want to go buy Nike. I'm being real. I don't know that it
Yeah.
made me want to go buy a pair of shoes, but it made me want to be better. And it sounds silly, and I'm probably a little embarrassed to say this. I watched that video every morning on the way to work for a year and a half straight until they took it off of YouTube. That's how
Wow.
I knew they took it off, because I would
Yeah.
watch it on my drive in, and I would watch it, and that was the last thing my ears heard before I walked into the building. So a little bit of a nerd, man, when it comes to like getting fired up. Like I'm like
Yeah.
a self, like I pour gasoline on my own fire. I'm like,
Yeah.
let's do this. And then I'll walk in and my team members are like moping around, like, good morning, good morning. And I'm
And
like,
your
guys, we
chest
gotta be better
bumping. Let's
today.
go.
Yeah,
That's
man.
awesome.
So those are 2 that come to mind. That's a great question, man.
That's great. So if someone wants to reach out to you and maybe learn more about what you're doing with Heartland, or even better, if they want to reach out to you and learn about your patient care package, how can they reach you?
Yeah, man. Thanks for giving me that opportunity to share that. I kind of just thought about that. Have you seen that show where they eat like the hot wings, and they have to like eat the different hot sauces along the way? And I think at the end, he's like, "Go ahead and tell people what you're up to these days. Like, what movies are you in?" And like, they have sweat dripping, and they're pale, and their mouth is bright red, and they're like, "I'm in a movie coming up," and they can't even breathe. That would be cool, man. We should do one of those.
Let's do
Um,
it. I like that.
Best way to get in contact with me, I've been having a lot of conversations lately on Instagram with dentists.
Mm-hmm.
I've been posting a lot of my cases, and when I go do speaking engagements or presentations, dentists will actually ask questions on my story like, hey, where are you at? What did you guys speak about? I noticed you did a smile makeover. What made you choose that color? What implant brand do you use? How long have you been doing this before you felt comfortable doing that? And it's cool because I feel like I'm mentoring dentists that I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also get patients from there. Like I have patients reach out and be like, I saw that you did a smile makeover for my friend. What city are you in? And I had a girl fly from LA to get her smile makeover done.
Wow.
Because she saw my work on Instagram. And it's not like I have 100,000 followers. I'm not an influencer. Like nobody's asking me to be a brand ambassador. But I share all that because I would like to show my work because it allows me to get better. It makes me take pride in my dental work. But it also allows dentists to communicate with me, and we can like partner up. Iron sharpens iron mentality. I can look at their work. They can look at my work. They can ask me what's working, what's not working. Dr.JacobBerger. Dr.JacobBerger. And that's on Instagram. I have the same Facebook. We're creating a YouTube page. We're doing a TikTok page. We're doing all types of stuff, man. Awesome. I have a team that I hired. The company I hired, I'm going to give them a shout out just because they do good work. It's called Vivid Alchemy. His name is Nadeem. I'm sure you could look them up or reach out to me on Instagram and I'll put you in touch with them. He comes to my office and films and does videography. He does photography, and then he does all my posts for me. And then I actually stay engaged. Like I engage with my followers, but he does the posts for me so that I can be a better dentist and a better dad and a better athlete. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm paying somebody to do that.
That's awesome.
That's the best place for people to get a hold of me. You did ask about the patient care package. I would say patientcarepackage.com, or you can check out at Patient Care Package on Instagram to learn more about it. If you want to order it, all you got to do is go to patientcarepackage.com. You order 50, it'll get shipped to you in less than 2 weeks. Please look into it. Take your, to the dentist listening, take your post-op care to the next level, man. Like there's a new standard of care for post-op. And it's not handing people gauze and post-op instructions anymore.
I love
that. We must protect this house. That's going to be my logo underneath it, man.
I love that. You gave a lot of information there. Just so everybody knows, just look right down below what you're watching or listening to right now. All of Dr. Jacob's links will be put in there. We'll include as many of them as possible. And then thank you so much for coming on today. You did a great job, and I'm super excited to share this with the world.
Gary, man, it was fun, dude. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. And if anything else comes up or you have any questions, or feel free to reach out, man.
Thank you, sir.